Out in the outer rim, on a quiet patrol lane that most ships ignored, Clone Commander Wolf expected boredom. The stars were clean. The scanner screen was calm. The only sounds were low engine hums and the small clicks of buttons under gloved hands. Then the alarm screamed. A red warning flashed across the console. Not a ship. Not debris. Not a mine. A distortion. It looked like a bruise in space, a pocket where light bent the wrong way. "Report," Wolf said, voice steady because that was his job. The pilot swallowed. "It's not on any chart. It isn't moving like a vessel." "Lock it," Wolf ordered. Green targeting lines reached out. The computer tried to measure distance. It failed. The numbers jumped. The distance was near, then far, then meaningless. Wolf felt his stomach tighten. This was not normal. Even in war, most things made sense. A second later, the distortion snapped wider. Space opened like a door, and someone stepped out. Not in a ship. Not in a suit. Just a man in a dark suit, shoes polished, hair neat, standing in empty space as if it were a floor. For half a heartbeat, wings flickered behind him. Not feathers like a bird. Something older looking, shaped by light and shadow at the same time. Then they were gone, like he had decided they were too dramatic. The man looked around, calm and curious, like he had arrived at a party late. Wolf's clone troopers froze. "Open fire?" a gunner asked, voice small. Wolf's mouth went dry. Everything in him said this was above his pay grade. But the war did not stop for that. "Hold," Wolf said. "Aim, but do not fire unless—" The man's head turned slightly, as if he had heard the gunner through the hull. His eyes met the cockpit window from far outside. Then a voice came through every helmet speaker at once. Not loud, not angry, just friendly. "Hello?" The clones stared at each other. Their comms were secure. Nobody should have been able to do that. Wolf forced himself to speak. "Identify yourself." The man smiled like the question amused him. "You're very polite for someone pointing so many weapons at me." "Identify," Wolf repeated, sharper now. The man tilted his head. "How about we start simpler?" He lifted his hands, palms open. No threat. No surrender either. Just control. "What do you desire?" The question hit the cockpit like a physical thing. Wolf did not understand why it bothered him. It was just words. But the pilot's hands shook. A trooper in the back whispered, "Sir." Why did he ask that? Wolf hated that he did not have an answer. Before he could speak again, the stars behind the stranger flared. A blue-white flash. 2 Jedi starfighters dropped out of hyperspace like darts. One fighter flew smooth and careful, like it trusted its own path. The other flew like a challenge. Obi-Wan Kenobi's ship and Anakin Skywalker's ship. Wolf felt a rush of relief. Jedi meant plans. Jedi meant something that made sense again. Obi-Wan's calm voice came over the channel. "Republic Patrol, this is General Kenobi. Maintain distance. Do not escalate." Anakin's voice cut in right after. "What is that? Is it separatist tech?" Wolf looked at the stranger outside. "Unknown contact. No ship. Entered space directly." Anakin's fighter angled closer. Fast. Too fast. Obi-Wan snapped, "Anakin, wait!" Anakin did not. The stranger watched Anakin approach, still standing in open space. He did not brace. He did not move. Anakin opened his fighter's external cannons as a warning shot. A bright line of fire streaked past the man's shoulder. The stranger did not flinch. He sighed, like someone hearing a loud neighbor. Anakin pushed even closer, then reached with the force. Hard. Like a hand grabbing. Obi-Wan could feel it even through the cockpit. Anakin was trying to shove the stranger away, or pin him, or at least prove he could. Nothing happened. It was not that the stranger resisted. It was worse. It felt like Anakin's grip found nothing solid to push. The stranger looked at Anakin's fighter like it was a rude animal. Then he raised one finger. The fighter stopped, not slowed. Stopped. In empty space, Anakin slammed his controls. The engine flared. The ship did not move. His breath hitched. Fear and anger flashed across his face. "Obi-Wan!" Obi-Wan's voice stayed controlled, but his heart pounded. "Easy. Easy." The stranger's finger lowered. The fighter drifted again, like gravity remembered it existed. Anakin's eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" The stranger's smile returned, calm as ever. "You're still not answering my question." Anakin blinked, caught off guard. The stranger's gaze sharpened. "What do you desire?" For a second, Anakin's mind filled with one thing. Padme falling. Padme gone. His mother gone. A dark hole that never closed. His jaw clenched. "I desire you to get out of our space." The stranger's expression softened in a way that did not feel kind. It felt like understanding. Obi-Wan eased his fighter forward, placing himself between Anakin and the stranger. "We are not your enemies, but you are in a war zone. If you are lost, we can—" The stranger looked at Obi-Wan now. The smile turned genuine. "Now that is interesting. You speak like someone who believes in rules." Obi-Wan kept his tone light because he needed Anakin to breathe. "Rules keep people alive." The stranger's eyes flicked to the clone patrol ships, then back. "Sometimes." Far away, across light years of distance, a tremor spread through the Force. On Coruscant, in the Jedi Temple, Master Yoda's eyes snapped open. He stood from his seat slowly, as if the air had turned heavy. In his mind, he felt something that did not fit. Something that did not belong. Not dark. Not light. Not even balanced. A third thing, he whispered to the empty room, voice quiet and certain. An outsider arrives. And somewhere else on Coruscant, in a quiet office that smelled of polished wood and power, Chancellor Palpatine paused mid-sentence. He smiled to himself, as if the galaxy had just handed him a new weapon. Obi-Wan brought the stranger to Coruscant because there was no safe place to take him. The stranger did not fight. He did not run. He did not even act insulted. He simply agreed. He floated beside Obi-Wan's ship as they traveled, like he was an escort that did not need engines. Clones watched him through viewports, like they were staring at a myth. When they landed, the Jedi Temple rose over the city, tall and bright, guarded and calm on the outside. Inside, it felt tense. Obi-Wan walked beside the stranger through wide halls. Anakin paced on the other side, shoulders tight, like he was holding back a storm. The stranger looked around with mild interest. Art. Statues. Old stones. He did not look impressed. He looked like someone visiting a place that believed it was important. A group of temple guards waited at the intake chamber. Their yellow helmets hid their faces, but their body language showed it. They were ready to die if they had to. Master Windu stood there too, straight as a blade. Master Yoda sat on a low seat, small and still, but his presence filled the room. The stranger's eyes landed on Yoda. For the first time, the stranger's smile faded. Not fear. Respect. "Ah," the stranger said softly. "So, the Wise One is real." Yoda's ears twitched. "Real I am. Questions I have." The stranger bowed slightly. Not deeply. Not submissive. Just polite. "Ask." Windu stepped forward first. "Name." The stranger's eyes slid to Windu. Direct. "I like that." "Name," Windu repeated, voice hard. The stranger hesitated like he was deciding how much truth this room could handle. "You may call me Lucifer." A few Jedi flinched at the sound, not from meaning, but from the way he said it, like it was both simple and heavy. Anakin snapped, "That's it? One name." Lucifer's gaze flicked to Anakin. You want the full story." Anakin's fist clenched. "I want to know what you are." Lucifer smiled again, and it was sharp this time. "So do I sometimes." Windu did not blink. "You entered our space without a vessel. You bypassed clone encryption. You stopped a starfighter with a gesture. You are a threat." Lucifer leaned back slightly, hands behind his back like he was listening to a boring report. "And yet, nobody is dead. Notice that?" Obi-Wan cleared his throat, careful. "He did not attack us, Master Windu. He came. Suddenly. But he has been calm." Windu glanced at Obi-Wan. "Calm is not safe," Lucifer chuckled. "Correct." That made Windu's jaw tighten. Yoda watched Lucifer like he was reading a book that kept changing pages. "Force around you. Strange it is," Yoda said. "Touched by it you are. Yet, not of it." Lucifer's eyes narrowed with interest. "The Force." He said it like he was tasting the word. Yoda continued. "Why here, you are. Accident or choice?" Lucifer looked up at the high ceiling, thinking. "I crossed a boundary. I was leaving one place. I did not pick this galaxy on a map." Windu's voice cut in. "You expect us to believe that?" Lucifer's gaze returned to Windu, calm again. "You don't have to believe me. You only have to decide what to do next." That was the problem. He spoke like he was equal to the whole council, like he was not trapped in their temple. Because deep down, everyone in the room could feel it. He wasn't. He was here because he allowed it. The Jedi healers ran tests. They brought scanners, medical droids, sensor rigs. The results were useless. The scanner readings spiked and dipped like the machine was dreaming. A medical droid clicked and whirred, then froze. Its head turned toward Lucifer. A stiff, flat voice came out. "Statement. I do not possess desire." Lucifer's eyebrows rose. How tragic. The droid's eyes blinked fast. Error. Ahsoka Tano stood near the back of the chamber, watching everything. She had been allowed in because Anakin insisted, and because Yoda trusted her instincts more than he admitted. She studied Lucifer's face. He looked like a man, but he moved like someone who never worried about being hurt. And his eyes looked tired in a strange way, like he had seen too much and got bored of it. Ahsoka stepped forward before she could stop herself. "If you're not here to fight, what do you want?" Lucifer turned to her, surprise flickering into amusement. "Finally, someone asks the right question." He took one step closer. Not threatening, just close enough that Ahsoka could feel a pressure in the air, like standing near a powerful generator. "What do you desire?" Lucifer asked her. Ahsoka stiffened. "That's not an answer." "It is," Lucifer said. "It's my favorite answer." Anakin groaned. "He keeps doing that." Lucifer glanced at Anakin. "And you keep avoiding it." Anakin took a step forward, anger rising. "Stop talking like you know me." Lucifer's voice stayed gentle. That made it worse. "I know the shape of hunger, Anakin Skywalker. I've seen it in kings, in thieves, in saints, in monsters." Windu's hand hovered near his lightsaber. "You will not probe a Jedi's mind." Lucifer lifted both hands again. "I'm not forcing anything. I'm speaking. People react." Yoda raised a hand, a quiet command. Enough. Everyone fell silent. Yoda looked to Obi-Wan. Place to stay, he will have. Watched, he will be. Not harmed. Windu's eyes narrowed. "Master Yoda." Yoda's voice stayed calm. "Harm him, we cannot. And if we try, harm ourselves, we will." That was not fear. It was honest math. Obi-Wan exhaled slowly. He did not like how true it sounded. They gave Lucifer rooms that were meant for important guests. Strong doors, quiet halls, Jedi guards that rotated. Lucifer walked into the rooms, looked around once, and smiled like it was adorable. He sat down on a couch like a king, pretending to be casual. Ahsoka lingered at the doorway. "You're taking this well." Lucifer glanced at her. "I've lived in places with chains made of gold. This is a different style." Ahsoka folded her arms. "You keep acting like you're in charge." Lucifer leaned forward slightly. "No, I act like I have a choice. That bothers people who think they own the rules." Anakin showed up a moment later, unable to stay away. "Stop talking in circles." Lucifer looked at him, soft and sharp at once. "You feel like the rules are supposed to reward you. Like if you do everything right, you won't lose what you love." Anakin's face hardened. "You don't know what I've lost." Lucifer's smile disappeared. "I know what loss does to a soul." Obi-Wan arrived just then, stepping between them with practiced ease. "Anakin, breathe." Anakin took a slow breath, but his eyes stayed locked on Lucifer. "Master, he's messing with me." Lucifer's tone stayed calm. "No, I'm speaking truth near you. It's not my fault your truth hurts." Obi-Wan turned to Lucifer. "If you want to build trust, you're not doing a good job." Lucifer's lips twitched. "Trust is overrated." Obi-Wan's eyes narrowed slightly. "Then why stay?" Lucifer glanced out the window at Coruscant's endless city lights. "Because your universe is interesting." Ahsoka frowned. "Interesting how?" Lucifer's gaze sharpened. "You have an energy field that claims it guides everything. It calls itself balance. It calls itself destiny." He said destiny like it was an insult. "And yet," Lucifer continued, "your people suffer. Your leaders lie. Your warriors are bred and used. Your chosen ones shake with fear." Anakin bristled. Lucifer stood, walking to the window. "So I want to see the truth under it. I want to find the chain." Ahsoka's voice went quiet. "The chain?" Lucifer nodded once. "The deepest one. The thing in this galaxy that decides for people and convinces them it was their choice." Obi-Wan felt cold move through his chest. "You're talking about the Force." Lucifer smiled without warmth. "Yes." Later, the council met without Lucifer. Windu argued for containment plans. "If he turns, we can't stop him with normal means. We need contingencies, devices, traps, allies." Obi-Wan argued for patience. "He hasn't harmed anyone. He might not even understand our rules." Anakin wanted action. "He's dangerous. He's insulting. He's—" Yoda cut in softly. "Afraid you are." Anakin's face flashed red. "I'm not afraid." Yoda's eyes stayed on him. "Then why tight is your fist? Why fast is your breath?" Anakin looked away. Ahsoka, standing with the younger Jedi, felt her stomach twist. She did not trust Lucifer, but she also did not think fear would solve him. In a different building across the city, Chancellor Palpatine watched his own reports. A recording of the patrol encounter played on a screen. Lucifer standing in open space. Anakin's fighter frozen. Palpatine's smile widened slowly. "So," he murmured, "the galaxy receives a guest." He touched a control, sending a request for a friendly Senate briefing about the unknown being. Not an order. Not yet. A suggestion. He liked to move pieces gently first. That night, Lucifer wandered the Jedi archives like he owned them. The archivist droid tried to stop him. "Please state your authorization." Lucifer raised his eyebrows. "What do you desire?" The droid froze. Error." Lucifer patted its metal head like it was a confused pet and kept walking. He pulled books from shelves at impossible speed. He read, eyes moving fast, then put them back perfectly. Ahsoka followed at a distance, curious despite herself. She watched him stop in front of a section on ancient Force lore. He stared at a passage longer than the rest. His face went still. Then he whispered, almost to himself. "You built a religion around a leash." Ahsoka stepped closer. "You talk like you hate it." Lucifer looked at her. "I hate cages." Ahsoka's voice tightened. "The Force isn't a cage. It's life." Lucifer's eyes softened. "Life is wonderful. Control dressed as life is not." He turned, and for a second, Ahsoka felt like he could see every fear she had and every hope she hid. "What do you desire?" he asked again. Ahsoka swallowed. She forced herself to answer honestly. "I desire for people to stop getting hurt." Lucifer's smile returned, not mocking this time, almost approving. "That," he said, "is a desire worth having. Far away, beyond maps and hyperspace lanes, something ancient stirred, a place between worlds, a doorway that had been quiet for a long time. The Force itself rippled, like a lake disturbed by a stone too heavy to understand. And in that ripple, a presence turned its attention toward Coruscant. Not a person. Not a Jedi. Not a Sith. Something older. In the temple, Yoda woke again in the dark. He did not move for a long time. Then he whispered, voice barely a breath. "Seen by the deep he is." By morning, the Jedi reached a tense agreement. Lucifer could remain on Coruscant under watch. He would not be caged. They had no cage that could hold him anyway. They would observe. They would prepare. They would not provoke. Obi-Wan delivered the decision in person. Lucifer listened, then nodded like it was reasonable. "We will work with you," Obi-Wan said carefully. "Or at least, we will try." Lucifer's smile was small. "Try is honest." Obi-Wan hesitated. "And you? What will you do?" Lucifer looked out over the city, again. He spoke like someone describing weather. "I will see what your galaxy truly is." Then he glanced back at Obi-Wan, eyes bright with quiet danger. "And I will see who benefits from the way it is." The call came 2 days later. A Republic world near a major supply route was under heavy separatist attack. Not just a raid, a hard strike. Civilians were trapped in a city district. A power station was on fire. If the station collapsed, half the city would lose shields and life support. Obi-Wan was assigned to lead the response. Anakin was assigned too, because Anakin was always assigned when it mattered. The council debated whether Lucifer should be anywhere near the field. Windu said no. Flat and final. Obi-Wan said, "If he wants to go, we cannot stop him. If we forbid him, we insult him. If we invite him, we at least shape the situation." Yoda's eyes stayed heavy. "Decide, we must. Choose the lesser danger." In the end, they did not invite Lucifer. They simply did not lock the door. Lucifer appeared at the hangar as the gunships warmed up. Obi-Wan looked at him and sighed. "Of course," Lucifer smiled. "You're going to save people. That seems like a good way to spend the day." Anakin glared. "Or a good way to get people killed." Lucifer's gaze slid to Anakin. "That depends on you more than me." Anakin's nostrils flared. He looked away because he did not trust himself to speak. Ahsoka jogged up beside them. "You're coming?" Lucifer looked down at her. "Do you desire me to?" Ahsoka rolled her eyes. "I desire you to stop asking that." Lucifer laughed once, quiet and pleased. "Fair." They deployed fast. The Republic gunships roared into the sky and jumped to hyperspace. When they arrived, the planet below was a mess of smoke and flashing lights. The city was built in layers, high towers, mid-bridges, lower markets. Now parts of it burned. Separatist droid ships hovered like metal insects, dropping waves of battle droids. Obi-Wan's gunship banked hard. "We need to reach the power station. Rex, take a squad and secure civilians along the lower streets." Rex's voice came back steady. "Yes, sir." Anakin leaned forward. eyes sharp. "I'm going straight to the control tower. If I cut the head off," Obi-Wan snapped, "Anakin, civilians first." Anakin's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Lucifer stood in the open side door of the gunship, wind tearing at his suit like it wanted to ruin him. It did nothing. He looked down at the chaos with mild interest, like he was watching a strategy game. Then a missile screamed up from below. The gunship shuddered as the missile locked on. The pilot swore. "Incoming!" Obi-Wan reached with the force to shove it away. The missile wobbled, but more launched behind it. Too many. Anakin reached too, raw power slamming into the air like a wall. The first missile veered. The second still came. Lucifer sighed like he was watching children. Throw rocks. He lifted one hand. The second missile stopped in midair. Not exploded. Stopped. It hung there, engine burning, screaming, going nowhere. Lucifer flicked his wrist. The missile turned around and shot back down the exact path it came from. It hit a droid launcher platform and destroyed it in a clean blast. Clones on the gunship stared. One trooper whispered, "That's not Jedi." Obi-Wan's mouth went dry. "No." They landed near a cracked plaza. Battle droids marched between broken vehicles. Civilians ran, carrying children, dragging the injured. Rex and his troopers moved like a practiced machine, forming lines, guiding people behind cover. Obi-Wan ignited his lightsaber. Blue light flashed. Anakin ignited his too, angry and bright. Ahsoka followed, twin blades igniting, face tight with focus. Lucifer did not ignite anything. He walked forward, hands in pockets, as if he might get bumped in a crowd. A droid squad spotted them. "Jedi detected." Blaster fire filled the air. Obi-Wan deflected shots, stepping sideways, calm even now. Anakin rushed straight in, slicing, fast and fierce. Ahsoka vaulted over a fallen speeder, cutting droids apart with clean moves. Lucifer watched the blaster bolts for a second. Then he spoke, not loudly. "Enough." The blaster bolts stopped. Every red bolt froze in midair like a line of glowing beads. The droids kept firing, weapons clicking uselessly now because their shots were no longer moving. The clones stared, stunned. Lucifer walked through the frozen bolts without touching them. He reached the droid line. He looked into their flat metal faces. "What do you desire?" he asked. The droids paused, their heads tilted. "Directive. Destroy the Republic." Lucifer nodded. How boring. He snapped his fingers. The droids collapsed. Not exploded. Not torn apart. Collapsed, like their power had been politely turned off. The clones rushed forward anyway, securing the area, because that was what soldiers did even when miracles happened in front of them. Anakin whirled on Lucifer. "Stop doing that!" Lucifer blinked. "Stopping them saved lives." Anakin stepped close, chest rising fast. "You're showing off." Lucifer's eyes sharpened. "And you're angry because it wasn't you." Obi-Wan stepped between them again, voice controlled. "We don't have time for this." A scream cut through the air. A tower segment, already damaged, began to fall. It was huge. It would crush a whole street where civilians were running. Ahsoka sprinted, shouting, "Move!" Rex's troopers yelled, pushing people toward cover. Obi-Wan reached with the Force, trying to slow the fall. His face tightened. It was too heavy, too large. Anakin joined him, teeth gritted, pushing with everything he had. The tower still fell. Lucifer appeared under it. Not running. Not flying. Just there, like the distance decided to stop being a problem. He lifted both hands, palms up. The tower stopped. It hung over the street, shaking, dust pouring down like rain. People below froze, staring up, terrified. Lucifer glanced down at them. "Keep moving," he said, casual. They ran. Rex stared, helmet tilted. Even for a clone, trained to follow orders, this was hard to accept. Obi-Wan's voice came out rough. How are you? Lucifer looked back. I'm not wrestling it. I'm telling reality what I want it to do. Anakin's eyes burned. That's not how anything works. Lucifer's smile was thin. It works when I do it. He shifted his hands gently and set the tower down in a clear lot, like placing a cup on a table. No crush, no quake, no extra damage. Just done. They pushed deeper toward the power station. Smoke rose in thick columns. The Separatists had placed heavy guns around the station like a ring. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka coordinated with Rex, sending squads to flank. Anakin wanted to charge. Obi-Wan forced him into a plan. For a while, it worked. Then the air changed. A pressure built in the back of Obi-Wan's mind, like a storm coming in. He slowed, eyes narrowing. Do you feel that? Ahsoka's Leku twitched. Yes. Anakin's face tightened. It feels wrong. The force around them started to twist, like a strong current pulling sideways. Clones stumbled, not because of wind, but because their sense of up and down felt off for a moment. Droids kept firing, but their shots began to curve strangely. Obi-Wan deflected a bolt that should not have hit him. It bent mid-flight. That's impossible, Ahsoka muttered. Then the power station doors slammed shut by themselves. Symbols lit up across the metal, old and sharp, not Separatist design. Anakin's eyes widened. Those aren't droid markings. Obi-Wan felt cold spread through his chest. Sith! Deep under the station, something activated. A pulse rolled outward. It hit the Jedi like a wave. Obi-Wan's vision blurred for half a second. His sense of the battlefield flickered. Ahsoka staggered, grabbing a railing. Anakin stood rigid, trying to push back with raw force strength. The clones looked around, confused and scared, because they could feel something, even without being force-sensitive. Lucifer did not move at all. The pulse hit him, and bent. Not around his body like a shield. Around him like the pulse itself could not decide what rules to use. Lucifer frowned, finally interested. Oh, he said softly. You have toys. Obi-Wan forced himself to speak through the pressure. It's a trap. Someone planted a Sith artifact here. Anakin's eyes went wild. Who? Dooku? Lucifer's gaze stayed on the glowing symbols. Not the one you're thinking of. Obi-Wan shot him a look. You know? Lucifer's smile returned, slow. I can smell a liar in a suit from across a galaxy. The air thickened again. A crack of dark energy snapped through the sky, not lightning exactly, but something close. The artifact was pulling at the Force like it was grabbing a rope and yanking. Obi-Wan felt sick. It's trying to name me, Lucifer finished calmly. Anakin blinked. What? Lucifer took a step toward the sealed doors. The Jedi guards tensed. Rex raised his rifle, then lowered it. Because what was the point? Lucifer placed his hand against the metal. The Sith markings flared bright, as if they recognized something important. The pressure spiked. Obi-Wan's knees bent. He fought to stay standing. Ahsoka grit her teeth, fear flashing behind her focus. Anakin's face twisted with rage. He forced himself forward, like he could fight the air. Lucifer's voice stayed quiet. Stop. The artifact did not stop. It pulled harder. It was trying to drag Lucifer into a pattern, into the Force's language, into the galaxy's rules. Lucifer's eyes narrowed. His tone stayed polite, almost bored. No. He did not shout it. He did not push with visible effort. He simply refused. The markings cracked down the middle. A sharp sound rang out, like a bell breaking. The pressure vanished. Everyone staggered as the world snapped back into place. The station doors creaked open on their own, smoke rolling out. Inside, Separatist droids lay scattered, melted from the inside out, as if the trap had burned itself trying to grab something too big. Anakin stared at Lucifer. His mouth opened, then closed. Obi-Wan took a slow breath, trying to steady his heart. Ahsoka whispered, "You broke it by saying no?" Lucifer looked at her. "It tried to tell me what I am." He stepped inside the station, careful not to step on a fallen clone. "I don't accept labels from broken systems." Rex moved in, troopers following, securing the room. Obi-Wan walked after Lucifer, voice low. "If that artifact was Sith, then someone wanted you here?" Lucifer's smile turned sharp again. "Yes." Anakin's voice came out strained. "Who?" Lucifer glanced back at him, eyes calm and cruelly honest at the same time. "Someone who thinks he can use me to break you." Anakin's stomach dropped. Obi-Wan's spine went cold. Because Obi-Wan knew, in that instant, that the war had just changed shape. Not because the Separatists had new weapons, but because a hidden hand had made a move. And now that hand knew something else too. That Lucifer Morningstar was real, and that the galaxy would have to plan around him. Outside, smoke rose over the city. Civilians stared up at the Republic gunships and the Jedi, and they stared at the quiet man in the dark suit, walking through blaster fire like it was rain. By nightfall, rumors would spread faster than hyperdrive. An angel, a devil, a weapon, a sign. The Jedi would deny it. The Senate would demand answers. And in the Chancellor's office on Coruscant, Palpatine would listen to the reports, patient and pleased, as if the board had gained a new piece, not controlled yet, but now, visible. And that was enough to begin. 3 days after the power station incident, Coruscant sounded louder than usual. The city always had traffic and sirens. It always had speeders cutting through air lanes. It always had crowds. But now there was something else under the noise. Unease. Padme Amidala felt it the moment she stepped into the Senate building. People looked at her longer than normal. Not because she was a senator. Because she had been seen with Jedi before. Because Jedi were part of the rumor. Aides whispered, while pretending they were only talking about schedules. Reporters stood in tight groups, waiting like hunters. Padme kept walking. She did not slow down. She kept her chin high. Inside the main chamber, the debate was already boiling. One senator shouted about safety. Another shouted about secrecy. A third shouted about the Jedi's hidden weapons. A name floated up through the arguments like smoke. Lucifer. Padme heard it and felt a cold pinch in her stomach. She had not met him, but she had read the classified summary the Jedi allowed the Chancellor to share. Unknown entity, no ship, no life support, can stop a starfighter, can affect secure comms, no signs of aggression, highly unpredictable. The summary was careful, too careful. That meant fear. Padme took her seat. Bail Organa leaned toward her, voice low. "You've heard the rumors." "I've heard too many," Padme said. Bail's eyes tightened. "The Senate wants to call the Jedi Council to testify." "They want a spectacle," Padme replied. "They want someone to blame." Across the chamber, Mas Amedda stood near the Chancellor's platform, calm as stone. And above them all, Chancellor Palpatine sat with a patient, gentle smile, like he was watching children argue over a toy. Padme did not like that smile today. Palpatine raised a hand. The chamber quieted, slowly. "My friends," he said, voice warm, "I understand your concern. I share it. The reports from the Outer Rim are troubling. However, we must not let fear guide our decisions." Padme felt the words land clean. They always did. He was good at that. Palpatine continued. "The Jedi have assured me they are investigating. They have assured me the Republic is safe." A senator jumped up. "Assured?" "With respect, Chancellor, we watched footage. A being in open space. Our pilots could not move." Another senator shouted. If the Jedi can't control it, then we need control. Padme pressed her lips together. Control. That was always the word that came next. Palpatine's smile softened. I have requested a private briefing from the Jedi Council. I will share what I can, when I can, without risking public safety. It sounded reasonable. It sounded responsible. Padme could almost feel the chamber settling. Almost. Because fear did not settle. Fear moved. And now fear had a new shape. A man in a dark suit, walking through blaster fire like it was nothing. Padme's mind flashed, uninvited, to Anakin's face when he tried to hide his anger. She remembered the way he could not stand being powerless. If he met someone who made him feel small? Padme forced herself to breathe. She looked up at Palpatine again. He was still calm, still kind, still watching. In the Jedi Temple, calm was harder. Obi-Wan stood in the council chamber while Masters spoke in sharp, measured tones. Mace Windu paced in a straight line, hands behind his back. His posture was controlled, but his eyes were hard. The Senate is pressing, Mace said, and I do not blame them. We have an unknown being inside our temple. Obi-Wan kept his voice even. He has not harmed anyone. That does not make him safe, Mace replied. It makes him patient. Ki-Adi-Mundi tilted his head. The reports suggest he is not aligned with the dark side. Mace's gaze snapped to him. The reports suggest nothing we can trust. Our senses do not read him. Our instruments do not read him. He could be a trap we cannot see. Plo Koon spoke, calm and steady. If he wanted us dead, we would be dead. That silence that followed was heavy, because it was true. Obi-Wan tried to steer the room back to reason. We should focus on what we do know. He responds to courtesy. He does not like threats. He is drawn to our philosophy. He is curious. Mace's jaw flexed. Curiosity can be a weapon. Yoda sat quietly, eyes half-lidded, listening longer than he spoke. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft. Afraid, many are. Senate, afraid. Temple, afraid. And fear makes mistakes. Mace stopped pacing. Master Yoda, you felt what I felt. The Force moves strangely around him. Yoda's ears drooped slightly. Strange, yes. Like a rock in a river. Water goes around. Yet river changes. Obi-Wan swallowed. That was one of the closest things to fear he had heard from Yoda. Mace leaned forward. We need contingencies. Obi-Wan's brows lifted. Such as? Mace did not answer right away. That was never a good sign. Such as not letting him influence Anakin, Mace said at last. Obi-Wan felt his chest tighten. Anakin is a grown man. Mace's eyes held his. Anakin is powerful, and he is unstable. Obi-Wan wanted to argue. He also knew Mace was not wrong. Yoda looked at Obi-Wan. Close, watch him. Not to punish, to protect. Obi-Wan nodded slowly. I will. The meeting ended with no perfect solution. Only rules that felt like paper in a storm. Observe. Prepare. Do not provoke. And above all, do not pretend you are in control. Lucifer's guard detail changed every 2 hours. It was not because anyone believed the guards could stop him. It was because the guards started to act strange if they stayed too long. Commander Rex learned that the hard way. He had volunteered to check the watch rotation himself because he trusted his troopers and because he preferred to see problems up close. He found 2 clones outside Lucifer's guest quarters, standing straight, rifles held properly, helmets facing forward. Perfect posture. Too perfect. Report, Rex said. Post secure, the first trooper replied. Rex waited. He listened to their breathing. It was a little fast. What's wrong? Rex asked. Nothing, sir, the second trooper said quickly. Rex stepped closer. Take your helmets off. Both troopers hesitated. Rex narrowed his eyes. Now! They removed their helmets. Their faces were pale, identical faces, but different fear. "He keeps talking," the first trooper said. Rex frowned. "Talking?" The second trooper swallowed. "He asks questions." Rex's tone stayed calm. "Questions about what?" The first trooper looked down like he was ashamed. "He asked what I desired." Rex blinked once. And I didn't answer," the trooper said. So he asked again. Rex stared. "That's it?" The second trooper's eyes were wide. "Sir, it's not the words. It's the way it feels. Like he's looking at you. Like he's already holding the answer and he's waiting to see if you'll lie." Rex felt a small chill. He had been interrogated before. He had been tested. He knew what pressure felt like. This sounded different. The door behind them opened. Lucifer stepped out like he had been invited. His suit looked perfect, as always. His face was relaxed, as always. His eyes were bright, as always. "Captain," Lucifer said. Rex's hand tightened on his blaster without raising it. "You're not supposed to leave your quarters without escort." Lucifer's smile was polite. "Am I?" Rex held his ground. "Yes." Lucifer looked at Rex for a long second. Not hostile, just focused. Then Lucifer nodded once. "Very well." He turned as if to go back inside, then paused. He looked at Rex's troopers, still holding helmets in their hands, faces tense. Lucifer spoke gently. "You two are doing fine, truly." The first trooper looked confused. "We are?" Lucifer's lips twitched. "You're resisting the urge to say what you really want. That takes effort." The second trooper's voice cracked. "We just want to do our duty." Lucifer's eyes softened. "And what do you desire beyond duty?" Both troopers froze. Rex stepped forward fast, voice sharp. "That's enough." Lucifer's gaze slid to Rex. He did not look offended. He looked amused. "You're protective," Lucifer said. "Good. Many leaders forget that." Rex forced his tone steady. "If you want to stay here peacefully, you stop pushing." Lucifer raised both hands, palms out. "I'm not pushing. I'm inviting." Rex stared him down. "To what?" Lucifer's smile was small. "Honesty." Rex did not answer. He watched Lucifer turn and walk back into the guest quarters, as if he had decided the conversation was over. When the door closed, Rex exhaled slowly. He turned to his troopers. "New rule," Rex said. "If he asks you that question, you answer with something simple." The first trooper blinked. "Like what?" Rex paused. He thought of the war. He thought of the men he'd lost. He thought of the men still alive. "I desire my brothers to live," Rex said. The troopers stared at him, then nodded. It did not solve the problem, but it gave them something solid to hold. Lucifer spent the next day in the archives again. The archivist droid had been replaced after its last error. The new droid tried harder. Lucifer asked the new droid the same question. The new droid responded by powering down for 8 seconds, then rebooting. Lucifer looked pleased, like he appreciated the effort. Ahsoka watched from a nearby aisle, arms crossed. She had tried avoiding him. It didn't work. He seemed to show up wherever there was tension. He felt it. He fed on it. Or maybe he simply enjoyed walking into it. Ahsoka stepped closer. "You're doing this on purpose." Lucifer didn't look up from the ancient text he was holding. "Doing what?" "You ask people what they desire," Ahsoka said. "And you act innocent when it messes with them." Lucifer finally looked at her. "It doesn't mess with them. It reveals them." Ahsoka's eyes narrowed. "That's the same thing." Lucifer's smile returned. "Is it?" Ahsoka leaned in slightly. "You said you hate cages. You keep implying the Force is a cage, but the Force has saved lives. Jedi use it to protect people." Lucifer held her gaze. "Yes." Ahsoka blinked. The agreement threw her off. Lucifer continued. calm. A tool can build a home or build a prison. What matters is who holds it and why. Ahsoka's voice lowered. And you think someone is holding it? Lucifer's expression turned thoughtful. I think many people believe the Force wants what they want, and that is convenient. Ahsoka frowned. So what are you here for? To free us? Lucifer's eyes flicked back to his book. I'm not a savior. Then what? Ahsoka pressed. Lucifer closed the book carefully and set it on the shelf as if it mattered. He turned fully toward her. I crossed into your universe. I met warriors who call themselves guardians. I met senators who call themselves servants. I met soldiers who were born to obey. He paused. And all of them speak about destiny, like it is a fact, not a story. Ahsoka's throat tightened. Destiny is real. Lucifer's voice was gentle. Maybe, but I've seen people use destiny to avoid responsibility, and I despise that. Ahsoka studied him. Do you care about any of us at all? Lucifer's lips twitched. You want a clean answer? Yes, Ahsoka said. I do. Lucifer nodded. I care in the way I care about any living thing. I dislike suffering. It's inefficient. It's ugly. Ahsoka's eyes hardened. That's not care. Lucifer's smile faded. No, it isn't the kind you mean. Ahsoka felt her anger rise, then stall. Because he wasn't lying. He wasn't pretending. He was worse. He was honest. And yet, Lucifer added, softer, I also find you fascinating. You keep choosing to help people, even when it hurts you. Ahsoka swallowed. She hated that her chest warmed at that. Lucifer's gaze sharpened again. What do you desire, Ahsoka Tano? Ahsoka forced herself not to flinch this time. She answered like Rex would. I desire the war to end, she said. Lucifer nodded once. Good. Simple. Real. Then he looked away, as if the conversation was finished. Ahsoka stood there a moment longer, feeling like she had stepped into deep water and come out only slightly wet. Palpatine waited until the galaxy's noise was high enough that people would not notice one extra meeting. He sent the invitation through official channels, polite and neutral. A private audience, a conversation about safety, a chance to understand. Obi-Wan received the notice first. He took it to the council immediately. Mace Windu's expression darkened. Absolutely not. Obi-Wan kept his voice calm. We cannot stop Lucifer from meeting him if Lucifer chooses. Mace's eyes narrowed. Then we should at least be present. Yoda shook his head slowly. 2 lions in one room. Many teeth, many smiles. Dangerous. Obi-Wan frowned. What do we do then? Yoda looked tired for a brief second. Watch, we will. Not with bodies. With wisdom. Obi-Wan did not like the answer. But there were no good answers. Lucifer accepted the invitation within an hour. He arrived at the Chancellor's office without escort. Not sneaking. Not breaking doors. He simply appeared at the doorway with a mild smile, as if the temple's security and Coruscant's airspace rules were suggestions, not laws. Masameda stiffened, then forced himself to bow. The Chancellor is expecting you. Lucifer stepped inside, hands relaxed at his sides. Palpatine stood near the window, looking out over the city. He turned with a grandfatherly warmth. Welcome, Palpatine said. I am grateful you agreed to meet. Lucifer's eyes flicked over the office. Fine wood, fine art, hidden guards behind hidden panels, power arranged like decoration. Lucifer smiled. I enjoy polite invitations. Palpatine gestured to a chair. Please, sit. Lucifer sat. He did it like a man who had sat on thrones and did not need to prove anything. Palpatine sat across from him, posture open, face kind. I want to understand you, Palpatine said. The Senate is frightened. The Jedi are cautious. I would like to ease tensions. Lucifer tilted his head. How noble. Palpatine's smile stayed in place. I try to do what is best for the Republic. Lucifer's eyes held Palpatine's. Do you? There it was, the first cut. Palpatine did not flinch. He leaned forward slightly, as if confiding. Tell me, he said, softly, why have you come to our galaxy? Lucifer tapped one finger on the armrest. By accident. Palpatine nodded slowly, like he believed it, like he could use it either way. And now that you are here, Palpatine asked, what will you do? Lucifer's lips curled. You're trying to map me. Palpatine chuckled. Perhaps. Lucifer's voice stayed pleasant. Maps are for things that stay still. Palpatine's eyes warmed. Then let us speak plainly. Your abilities are remarkable. You could save many lives in this war. Lucifer watched him. You want me to end your war? Palpatine spread his hand slightly. I want peace. Lucifer's smile sharpened. You want victory. Palpatine's face softened, as if wounded by the accusation. Is there a difference when the Separatists threaten innocent lives? Lucifer leaned back. Sometimes. Palpatine kept his tone gentle. You have seen suffering. You have seen how fragile life can be. Surely you understand the need for order. Lucifer's eyes flickered. Just for a moment, something old and dangerous moved behind them. Order, Lucifer repeated. That word again. Palpatine's smile stayed careful. Order protects. Lucifer's voice stayed calm. Order cages. Palpatine tilted his head. And freedom. Lucifer smiled. Freedom reveals. Palpatine's eyes narrowed just a fraction. Reveals what? Lucifer answered simply. Who people really are. Palpatine paused. He chose his next words with care. Then perhaps, Palpatine said, you can help us reveal the truth about the Jedi. Lucifer's brows lifted. Ah, Palpatine's voice dropped a little, intimate. They keep secrets. They claim moral authority. They decide who may use power. He sighed like a tired leader. They will never truly trust you. They fear you. I do not. Lucifer studied him. Palpatine's face was sincere. His eyes were kind. His body language was open, a perfect mask. Lucifer leaned forward slightly. What do you desire, Chancellor? Palpatine blinked once. It was small. It was real. Then the smile returned, smooth as ever. I desire peace, Palpatine said. Lucifer's smile widened. No, Lucifer said softly. Try again. For a heartbeat, the air in the room felt heavier. Palpatine's eyes stayed steady, but his pulse ticked a little faster. Lucifer's tone stayed polite. The first answer is always the safe one. Give me the real one. Palpatine held his smile. Peace is real. Lucifer nodded as if agreeing, then spoke with quiet certainty. Peace is your excuse. Control is your desire. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Masameda outside the door shifted uneasily, not knowing why. Palpatine's smile did not break. That was what made him dangerous. Control can be used for good, Palpatine said, still warm. A leader must sometimes guide a frightened people. Lucifer's eyes gleamed with amusement. I do love a man who believes his own story. Palpatine's voice stayed soft. And you? What do you desire? Lucifer's smile faded. To find the chain. Palpatine leaned in slightly. The chain? Lucifer's gaze turned distant for a moment, as if he was listening to something beyond the room. Your universe has a system that pushes people into patterns. It calls it balance. It calls it destiny. I want to see what sits at the bottom of it. Palpatine's face showed curiosity. Inside, his mind moved fast. If Lucifer chased mysteries, then Lucifer could be led. Ancient force sites exist, Palpatine said gently. Places the Jedi do not like to discuss. Places of deep power. Lucifer looked back at him. And you know them. Palpatine smiled modestly. I know of them. Lucifer's eyes narrowed. You want to trade. Palpatine spread his hands. I want cooperation. You want knowledge. We can both benefit. Lucifer stood smoothly. Perhaps. Palpatine rose as well. Consider it. If you wish, I can arrange access to certain information. Lucifer walked toward the door, then paused. He turned back. His smile returned, bright and dangerous. Chancellor, Lucifer said, you should be careful. Palpatine's eyes softened. Of what? Lucifer's voice was gentle. Of thinking you can own everything you touch. Then he left. Palpatine stood still for a moment after the door closed. His smile remained, but his eyes were colder now. Interesting, he murmured to the empty room. He sees, and yet he can still be moved. He turned toward the window and watched Coruscant's lights. Then he made a decision. If Lucifer would not be recruited directly, then Lucifer would be used indirectly. And the best lever in the galaxy was not fear, it was desire. Anakin Skywalker did not sleep well after the power station. He told himself it was the war. He told himself it was the noise of Coruscant. He told himself it was nothing. But in the dark, his mind replayed the moment his ship froze in space. Not from enemy fire, from a gesture. He hated the helpless feeling. It crawled under his skin like grit. On the fourth night, he woke with sweat on his neck and a sharp image in his mind. Padme on a cold floor. Padme not moving. Anakin sat up, breathing hard, heart hammering. He pressed his palms to his eyes, trying to push the picture away. It stayed. The next morning, Palpatine invited Anakin for tea, like he had done many times before. Anakin arrived tense. Palpatine welcomed him with warm concern. You look tired, my boy, Palpatine said. It's nothing, Anakin lied. Palpatine nodded slowly, as if he respected the effort. War takes its toll. Anakin swallowed. He did not want to speak, but the fear in him needed somewhere to go. Palpatine leaned forward slightly. Tell me. This. Lucifer. What do you feel when he is near? Anakin's jaw clenched. I feel angry. Palpatine's eyes softened. Because he challenges you. Anakin's voice tightened. Because he acts like he knows everything. Palpatine nodded. And because the Jedi do not know what to do with him. Anakin looked up fast. They don't. Palpatine's voice stayed gentle. They fear what they cannot control. Anakin's throat went dry. He's dangerous. Perhaps, Palpatine agreed, but danger can be directed. Anakin frowned. Directed how? Palpatine sighed, as if reluctant. You are the one Jedi with the strength to stand near him without crumbling. You understand power. You understand what it means to carry responsibility. Anakin's chest warmed at the praise. It always did, even when he tried to resist it. Palpatine continued, soft and careful. The Council will keep him at arm's length. They will whisper behind closed doors. They will plan contingencies. They will never truly trust him. Anakin's hands curled into fists. They never trust me either. Palpatine's eyes shone with sympathy. I know. The room felt smaller. Anakin felt his desire rise like a flame, to be trusted, to be strong enough, to save Padme. He didn't say that last part out loud, but he felt it. And somewhere in the city, as if the Force itself had been scratched and could not stop bleeding, another ripple moved. Yoda, in meditation, flinched. He felt a door again. Not opened, not yet. But waiting. Lucifer stood alone in the temple gardens that evening. The city's air traffic buzzed far below. The sky was lit with moving dots. He watched them like they were insects. Ahsoka approached quietly, steps light. "You met the Chancellor," she said. Lucifer did not turn. "News travels fast." Ahsoka stopped beside him. "What did he want?" Lucifer's smile was faint. "The same thing everyone wants." Ahsoka frowned. "Power?" Lucifer's eyes glinted. "Control." Ahsoka's voice tightened. "And you?" Lucifer turned slightly, looking down at her. "Still the same." "The chain." Ahsoka folded her arms. "You're obsessed." Lucifer's smile widened. "Yes." Ahsoka hesitated, then asked the question she hated most. "Why?" she said. "Why does it matter to you?" Lucifer was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was softer than usual. "Because I recognize the shape," Lucifer said. "I recognize a system that pretends it is holy while it pulls strings." Ahsoka swallowed. "The Force isn't—" Lucifer raised a hand, not to silence her, but to slow the argument. "I'm not saying the Force is evil," he said. "I'm saying people use it. They hide behind it. They let it excuse what they do." Ahsoka's eyes narrowed. "The Jedi don't hide." Lucifer's gaze sharpened. "Don't they?" Ahsoka bristled, then stopped. She thought of secret meetings, of half-truths, of the Council's fear of Anakin's emotions. Her mouth opened, then closed. Lucifer watched her carefully, then nodded. "You're honest," he said. "That's rare." Ahsoka's cheeks warmed in annoyance. "Don't flatter me." Lucifer chuckled. "That wasn't flattery. That was an observation." Ahsoka stared at him. "You say you don't force. You say you only offer. But you're still dangerous." Lucifer's smile faded. "Yes." Ahsoka waited. Lucifer looked up at the stars again. "Danger is not always a choice," he said. "Sometimes it's just what you are." Ahsoka's voice went quiet. "Do you ever get tired of being what you are?" Lucifer's eyes flicked down to her. For a second, something like loneliness showed. Then it vanished. "I get tired of boredom," Lucifer said lightly. Ahsoka exhaled, frustrated. "You dodge questions." Lucifer's smile returned, sharp. "And you ask them anyway. Courageous." Ahsoka shook her head. "If you go chasing your chain, you'll drag all of us into it." Lucifer tilted his head. "Do you desire to stop me?" Ahsoka glared. "You're doing it again." Lucifer's grin flashed. "Yes." Ahsoka held his gaze, then answered anyway, because she refused to be the one who flinched. "I desire you to not hurt my people," she said. Lucifer's expression softened. "Then follow me," he said simply. Ahsoka blinked. "What?" Lucifer's eyes gleamed. "If you want to make sure I don't hurt them, don't stand far away. Stand close. Watch. Learn." Ahsoka's stomach tightened. It felt like a trap. It also felt like the only honest option. In the distance, Coruscant's lights kept moving. And far beyond Coruscant, in places even hyperspace routes avoided, something ancient listened, as if Lucifer's words had rung a bell in a dark room. The next morning, Lucifer left. He didn't announce it. He didn't sneak. He simply walked out of the temple as if he was going for a stroll. Temple guards stiffened. Jedi watchers moved to intercept. Obi-Wan arrived fast, robe swinging, face calm but eyes sharp. "Where are you going?" Obi-Wan asked. Lucifer smiled. "To find what's calling." Obi-Wan frowned. "Calling?" Lucifer tapped his temple lightly. "Your force has a wound. It's leaking signals. Someone is tugging on it." Obi-Wan's stomach tightened. "You mean the artifact?" Lucifer nodded. "That was a finger. The hand is elsewhere." Anakin appeared a moment later, looking like he had been waiting for an excuse to move. "You're not leaving?" Anakin snapped. Lucifer glanced at him. "Yes, I am." Anakin stepped closer, anger rising. You think you can just do whatever you want." Lucifer's smile turned thin. "I can." Obi-Wan raised a hand, voice firm. "Lucifer, if you leave, you risk escalating tensions. The Council will react badly. The Senate will react worse." Lucifer's eyes flicked toward the city below. "Politics, how exhausting." Obi-Wan held his ground. "Then let us come with you." Lucifer studied him. "Why would I want an escort?" Obi-Wan answered honestly. "Because if you vanish and something terrible happens, they will blame you. And if you go alone and something targets you, you'll respond however you wish. We need to be there, to help, to witness." Lucifer's smile returned. "You said witness. That is the first honest reason." Obi-Wan exhaled. "So?" Lucifer tilted his head. "Bring the girl. Bring the soldier. Bring the angry one if he insists." Anakin's eyes flared. "I don't insist." Lucifer's gaze held him. "You do." Ahsoka arrived, already geared, already committed. Rex came too, helmet tucked under one arm. "General," Rex said to Obi-Wan, "I don't like this, but I'd rather be nearby than read about it later." Obi-Wan nodded slowly. "Agreed." They took a Republic shuttle under a quiet flight plan. No big escort. No announcement. Just a small team leaving the center of the Republic like a secret. Lucifer sat in the shuttle like a man on a casual trip, one leg crossed, hands relaxed. Anakin stared at him the whole time. Ahsoka tried not to. Rex watched everyone, because that was his job. Obi-Wan felt the force around them, restless, like it didn't know what to do with Lucifer. As they hit hyperspace, Lucifer's gaze drifted toward the blue tunnel. He smiled, as if he could see something inside it that none of them could. "Where are we going?" Obi-Wan asked. Lucifer answered without looking away. "A place you hide from yourselves," Anakin scoffed. "That's helpful." Lucifer glanced at him. "Moraband." Obi-Wan's face tightened. "The ancient Sith world." Ahsoka's eyes widened slightly. "Why there?" Lucifer's smile was mild. "Because that's where chains like to be forged." Obi-Wan didn't like the sound of it, but the pull in the Force was real. And, deep down, Obi-Wan knew something else too. If Palpatine's hidden hand had moved once, it would move again. If the Sith had planted a trap in a city power station, they would gladly plant something worse in a place like Moraband. And if Lucifer was walking toward it with calm steps, then the galaxy was about to learn what worse could mean. Moraband looked dead from orbit. Not peaceful. Dead. The surface was a spread of dark rock, sharp ridges, and dust that swirled in weak wind. Old ruins cut through the landscape like broken teeth. The shuttle landed on a flat stretch near a canyon. The ramp lowered. Hot air rolled in, dry and bitter. Obi-Wan stepped out first, hand near his lightsaber. The Force here felt heavy, like the air itself wanted to press down on his thoughts. Ahsoka followed, face tight. Rex and two clones moved with careful discipline, scanning angles. Anakin stepped out last, eyes narrowed, jaw clenched. Lucifer walked down the ramp like he had arrived at a quiet museum. He looked around once and nodded, satisfied. "Yes," Lucifer said. "This place admits what it is." Ahsoka stared. "It admits it's evil." Lucifer glanced at her. "It admits it's hungry." Obi-Wan felt that hunger too, not like a creature, but like a pressure. He turned to Lucifer. "You feel the pull here?" Lucifer smiled. "Of course." Anakin muttered, "This is stupid." Lucifer looked at him. "Fear makes you insult what you don't understand." Anakin's eyes flashed. "I'm not afraid." Lucifer's voice stayed calm. "Then you wouldn't need to say that." Ahsoka shot Anakin a warning look. Rex shifted slightly, ready to step between them if needed. Obi-Wan forced them forward. They moved into the canyon, following Lucifer's casual lead. The deeper they went, the more the ruins closed around them. Tall stone pillars, broken statues, old symbols carved deep. Ahsoka whispered, "I don't like this." Rex answered quietly, "No one should." Then they heard voices, not echoes, not wind. Voices. Obi-Wan raised a fist. The team stopped. Down the canyon, a group of figures stood in a half circle, wearing layered cloth and bone-like masks. Not Sith, not droids. People. They held metal staffs and small glowing stones that looked like they had been chipped from something precious. Kyber, Obi-Wan realized with a sudden chill. The masked group turned as one. Their leader stepped forward. A woman, tall, posture stiff with purpose. Her voice was rough. "You brought him." Obi-Wan's brows knit. "Who are you?" The leader's masked head tilted. "We are the keepers of the link," Ahsoka whispered. "A cult." Rex lifted his rifle slightly. "Hostiles." The leader raised a hand. "We do not want your blood, soldier." Lucifer stepped forward, hands relaxed. "You want mine?" The leader's voice sharpened. "We want the one who does not belong." Obi-Wan's stomach dropped. "How do you know he's here?" The leader's masked face turned toward Obi-Wan. The wound in the Force screamed when he said no to the chain in the Sky City. Anakin's eyes narrowed. "The artifact." The leader nodded. "We felt it. We followed it. We waited." Ahsoka stepped forward. "Waited to do what?" The leader lifted her staff. "To bind him. To restore the pattern." Lucifer's smile turned amused. "Restore the pattern. How familiar." Obi-Wan shifted his stance. "Step aside. We are leaving." The leader's laugh was dry. "You can't leave. Not until the link is repaired." The cult members raised their kyber shards. They began to hum in a low rhythm. The air changed. A pressure tightened around Lucifer, like invisible ropes pulling inward. Obi-Wan felt it too, like the Force itself was being shaped into a net. Ahsoka ignited her lightsabers, blades snapping to life. "Stop!" Rex's troopers aimed rifles. Anakin stepped forward, eyes blazing. "Try it, and I'll..." Lucifer raised one hand, not in attack, in calm. "Let them," Lucifer said. Obi-Wan stared. "Lucifer." Lucifer's eyes stayed on the cult leader. "I want to see what they believe." The humming grew louder. The kyber shards glowed. The pressure tightened. For a moment, Obi-Wan thought Lucifer might actually be pinned. Then Lucifer sighed, and the pressure simply slipped. Not broken with force. Slipped like it could not find a hook to hold. The net collapsed. The kyber shards cracked in several hands. Cult members gasped, stumbling back. The leader stared, stunned. Impossible. Lucifer walked forward slowly. His voice was gentle, almost kind. "What do you desire?" Lucifer asked her. The leader stiffened. "I desire..." She stopped. Her breath hitched. Lucifer's eyes held hers. "Say it." Obi-Wan felt a ripple run through the group, like the question pushed past masks and rituals. The leader's voice came out smaller. "I desire for it to make sense." Silence. Ahsoka's blade stayed up, but her face softened despite herself. Lucifer nodded, as if the answer pleased him. "You want meaning," Lucifer said. "So you built a chain and called it sacred." The leader's hands trembled. "The Force demands balance." Lucifer's smile was faint. "The Force doesn't demand. People demand, and they blame the Force." Anakin took a step forward, anger and confusion mixing. "Stop talking like that." Lucifer glanced at him, then stopped listening. He looked back at the leader. "I will not be bound," Lucifer said, "but you can choose what you do next." The leader's shoulders sagged slightly, as if her rage had nowhere to land now. Lucifer stepped past them. "No killing. No crushing. No show of dominance beyond the simple fact that their trap meant nothing. Obi-Wan exhaled, tense. He motioned Rex's troopers to lower rifles, slowly. Ahsoka didn't deactivate her sabers until they were well past the cult. Behind them, the leader whispered, almost broken, "If he isn't part of the pattern, then what are we?" Lucifer didn't answer. He didn't need to. The question would haunt them more than any threat. They reached the temple as the sun dipped low. It wasn't a Jedi temple. It was a Sith temple, carved into rock, with a mouth-like entrance and statues that looked like they were shouting without sound. The air inside was cooler, but heavier. Obi-Wan's skin prickled. Anakin's breath came fast. Ahsoka stayed close to Obi-Wan, senses sharp. Rex and his clones moved carefully, boots quiet on stone. Lucifer walked straight in. The deeper they went, the more the corridor narrowed. Symbols glowed faintly on walls, waking up as Lucifer passed. Obi-Wan's eyes narrowed. "It reacts to you." Lucifer smiled. "It recognizes something it wants." At the end of the corridor, a chamber opened up. In the center stood a circle of stone with carved lines that looked like a map, but not of space. A map of something else. The Force. As Obi-Wan stepped closer, his mind swayed. He felt like he was standing at the edge of a deep drop. Ahsoka whispered, "This is wrong." Anakin stared at the circle, jaw tight. "It feels like it's watching." Lucifer stepped onto the stone circle. The carvings lit up bright. A low sound filled the chamber. Not a hum from machines. Something deeper, like a vibration in the bones. Obi-Wan reached out with the Force and felt the space around Lucifer thin, like a curtain pulling back. "No," Obi-Wan said, alarm rising. "Lucifer, step back." Lucifer did not move. His eyes were wide now, not with fear, but with interest. "This is it," Lucifer said quietly. "A door." The carvings flared. The air twisted. For a heartbeat, Obi-Wan saw two places at once. The Sith chamber, and a different sky. A wide, strange landscape with floating stones and shifting light. A place that did not feel like any planet. Ahsoka gasped. "Where?" The pull hit them. Obi-Wan tried to anchor himself. Anakin grabbed Ahsoka's arm. Rex braced, boots scraping stone. It didn't matter. The chamber dropped away, and they were elsewhere. They landed hard on ground that felt solid, but looked wrong. The sky above was gray-blue, but the light came from no sun. Stone structures rose around them in strange shapes. The Force was loud here. Not loud like noise, loud like presence. Obi-Wan pushed himself up, breathing hard. "This isn't Moraband." Ahsoka stood, blades ignited instantly. "This is the Force." Anakin stared, eyes wide. "No, this is a dream." Lucifer stood calmly, dusting off his suit as if he had tripped on a stair. "This," Lucifer said, almost pleased, "is what your universe hides behind stories." A voice echoed across the landscape. Not from one direction, from everywhere. "You are not meant to be here." Obi-Wan's spine went cold. He recognized the feeling. Not a Jedi, not a Sith, something else. A figure appeared on a high platform ahead. Tall, cloaked, eyes burning with dark certainty. The sun. Ahsoka stiffened. She had heard whispers about Mortis in old Jedi reports. Half myth, half warning. Obi-Wan stepped forward, trying diplomacy even now. "We mean no harm. We were pulled here." The sun's gaze slid past Obi-Wan and locked on Lucifer. "And you," the sun said, voice sharp, "should not exist." Lucifer smiled, bright and dangerous. "We agree." The sun's lips curled. "Then leave." Lucifer tilted his head. "No." The air tightened. The sun lifted a hand, and dark Force energy surged forward, not like lightning, but like crushing pressure. Obi-Wan raised a hand to block, but the pressure passed him like he wasn't the target. It hit Lucifer and stopped. Not because Lucifer blocked it with a visible shield, because the pressure simply could not decide what to do with him. Lucifer looked down at the dark energy, pressing around his chest like smoke trying to become chains. He sighed. "You're trying to define me." The sun's eyes narrowed. "Everything must have a place." Lucifer's voice was calm. "That's your obsession, not mine." The sun's expression turned hungry. "You could have a place. Here." Obi-Wan's heart sank. "He's recruiting him," Ahsoka whispered, "or trying to." The sun stepped closer, posture regal. "You are outside the balance. That means you can tip it." Lucifer's eyes gleamed. "And you want me to tip it your way?" The sun smiled, pleased. "I want freedom." Lucifer laughed once, short and sharp. "No, you want to be the only cage." The sun's smile vanished. The landscape shuddered. Stone cracked. Wind rose from nowhere. Anakin stepped forward, voice strained. "Enough." The sun ignored him. He looked at Lucifer like Lucifer was a problem that needed solving. "If you will not join," the sun said, "then you will be broken." Dark power surged again, stronger. Obi-Wan felt it press against his ribs. Ahsoka staggered. Rex, not force-sensitive, still felt it like a heavy hand on his chest. He dropped to one knee, breath knocked out of him. Anakin gritted his teeth and pushed back with the Force, raw and furious. The dark surge met Anakin's push and snapped sideways. It slammed into the ground, blasting rock upward. Lucifer didn't move. He looked at the sun with quiet annoyance. "Stop," Lucifer said. The sun snarled. "No." Lucifer's eyes hardened. He didn't shout. He didn't strain. He simply spoke again, with the kind of certainty that made the world listen. "No." The dark surge broke, not exploded. Broke, like glass cracking and falling away. The wind died. The sun froze, shocked for the first time. Obi-Wan stared at Lucifer, heart pounding. Even here, in a place made of the Force, Lucifer's refusal worked. The sun's eyes turned sharp again. "Then I will take what I need from another." His gaze snapped to Anakin. Obi-Wan's blood went cold. "Anakin." The sun's hand lifted, and the world around Anakin changed. Anakin blinked, and he wasn't standing on strange ground anymore. He was in a bedroom on Coruscant. Padme lay in bed, face pale. Anakin rushed forward. "Padme." She didn't answer. Her chest didn't rise. Anakin's throat closed. "No, no!" The room shifted. Now Padme was on a cold floor, still, dead. Anakin's mind screamed. His hands shook. He fell to his knees. A voice whispered behind him, smooth and cruel. "You see it," the sun said. "You fear it." Anakin turned, eyes wild. "Get out of my head," the sun smiled. "I can stop it." Anakin's breath hitched. "You can't." "I can," the sun lied smoothly. "With power, with control." Anakin's fists clenched, his nails dug into his palms. "I would do anything." The sun stepped closer. "Then choose." Anakin's chest burned. He wanted to reject it. He wanted to be strong. He wanted to be Jedi. But the image of Padme not breathing was a knife he could not pull out. And in the distance, as if through thick fog, Anakin heard a familiar voice. "Lucifer, what do you desire, Anakin Skywalker?" Anakin spun, searching. The vision blurred slightly. Lucifer appeared at the edge of the room, like he had stepped through a door that wasn't there. Not as a dream, as himself. Calm. Solid. Anakin's voice cracked. "I desire her to live," Lucifer nodded once. "Good. Honest." The sun's smile sharpened. "He can't help you. He refuses to kneel, I do not." Lucifer glanced at the sun like he was something stuck to a shoe. Then Lucifer looked back at Anakin. His voice stayed simple. "You can't control death," Lucifer said. "Not you. Not him. Not even me. The way you mean it." Anakin's face twisted. "Then what's the point of power?" Lucifer's eyes held his. "Power doesn't erase loss. Power reveals who you become when loss comes." The sun's voice hissed. "He offers you pain. I offer you escape." Lucifer's tone stayed calm. "He offers you a chain that feels like a key." Anakin trembled. "I can't lose her." Lucifer stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Then don't lose yourself first." Anakin's breath hitched. Tears threatened, angry and hot. The sun's hand lifted. The vision of Padme's dead face moved closer, filling Anakin's view. Anakin's rage surged. He pushed with the Force, hard, not controlled, not clean. It wasn't a Jedi push. It was something sharper. The room shook. The sun's shape flickered. For a second, Anakin felt it. The dark side. It responded fast. It felt strong. It felt easy. Anakin's eyes widened as he realized what he had touched. Lucifer's gaze stayed on him. Steady. No comfort. No condemnation. Just truth. "That," Lucifer said softly, "is the shortcut." Anakin's chest heaved. The sun's smile returned, pleased. "Yes. Feel it. Use it." Anakin's jaw clenched. His whole body wanted to keep pushing, to crush the fear, to crush the sun, to crush anything that stood between him and saving Padme. Then he saw Ahsoka's face in his mind. Not dead. Just disappointed. And Obi-Wan's tired eyes. And Rex on one knee, still standing anyway. Anakin pulled back. The dark feeling snapped away like a hand letting go of a hot weapon. The vision shattered. They were back on the strange landscape. Anakin stumbled, catching himself on his hands. His face was pale. His breathing was ragged. Obi-Wan rushed to him. "Anakin!" Anakin didn't look up right away. Shame and anger twisted together in him. Ahsoka moved closer, eyes wide. "What happened?" Anakin's voice came out rough. He showed me." "The sun," Obi-Wan said, voice tight. The sun stood across from them, expression unreadable now. Less shocked, more thoughtful. He looked at Lucifer with new interest. "You refuse the balance," the sun said. "Yet you care enough to interrupt." Lucifer shrugged lightly. "I hate cheaters." The sun's eyes narrowed. "You are the cheat." Lucifer smiled. "And you're angry because you didn't think someone could exist outside your game." The sun's posture stiffened. "This realm is not for you." Lucifer took one slow step forward. The air around him made no move to stop him. "I go where I choose," Lucifer said. The sun lifted his hand again. The landscape trembled, but this time, something else trembled with it. A deeper vibration, low and heavy, like something far below had shifted in its sleep. Obi-Wan felt it and went cold. Ahsoka felt it and swallowed hard. Even the sun's eyes flickered, just for a moment. Lucifer's smile faded. He looked past the sun, past the stones, as if listening to a sound none of them could hear. "Interesting," Lucifer murmured. Obi-Wan's voice was tight. "What is it?" Lucifer didn't answer right away. The sun's voice came out quieter now, less sure. "The door should not have opened." Lucifer finally looked at Obi-Wan. "Your wound in the Force isn't only about Sith plots," Lucifer said. "Something deeper is stirring." Anakin pushed himself to his feet, shaking. "Like what?" Lucifer's eyes narrowed. "Like hunger, older than your war." The sun's jaw tightened. "Leave." Lucifer glanced at the sun. "Not because you command it," Lucifer said. "Because staying longer might wake the wrong thing." Obi-Wan didn't like the sound of that. He liked it even less because Lucifer sounded cautious. Lucifer turned to the stone platform behind them. The air folded, and the moribund chamber appeared like a doorway of light. "Come," Lucifer said, as if it was obvious. Rex didn't ask questions. He stood, grunting, and moved. His clones followed. Ahsoka pulled Anakin along when his legs lagged. Obi-Wan stayed, close, watching Lucifer, watching the sun, watching the sky. As they stepped through, Obi-Wan looked back one last time. The sun stood still, eyes burning. But now his expression carried something else. Not just anger. Interest. As if he had found a new crack to pry open. Then the doorway snapped shut. They were back inside the Sith temple on Moribund. The carvings on the floor dimmed, but they did not go dark. They stayed faintly lit, like embers that refused to die. Obi-Wan breathed hard, steadying himself. Ahsoka deactivated her saber slowly, hands still trembling. Rex leaned against a stone pillar, catching his breath, visor tilted down. Anakin stood rigid, staring at nothing, jaw clenched so tight the muscles jumped. Lucifer looked around the chamber once, calm again, as if they had simply returned from a short trip. Obi-Wan stepped close to Lucifer. His voice was low. "You knew what that place was." Lucifer glanced at him. "I suspected." Obi-Wan's eyes narrowed. "And you still stepped onto the circle?" Lucifer's smile was faint. "Yes." Obi-Wan felt anger rise, controlled but real. "You put us at risk." Lucifer's gaze held his. "You chose to follow." Obi-Wan's mouth opened, then closed. He hated that Lucifer was right. Ahsoka approached, looking from Lucifer to Anakin. "What did the sun do to him?" Anakin snapped. "Nothing." His voice was too fast, too sharp. Ahsoka's eyes softened. "Anakin." Anakin's hands shook once, then curled into fists. "I'm fine." Lucifer watched Anakin quietly. Then he spoke, gentle but precise. "He showed you your desire," Lucifer said, "and offered to exploit it." Anakin's head whipped toward him. "Shut up!" Lucifer didn't flinch. "You touched the dark side," Lucifer said simply. The words hit the chamber like a dropped stone. Obi-Wan's heart sank. Ahsoka's eyes widened, hurt flashing across her face. Rex looked between them, confused but tense, as if he could feel the danger even without understanding it. Anakin's face flushed with rage and shame. "I didn't. I stopped." Lucifer nodded once. "You did." Obi-Wan exhaled slowly. "Anakin, we will talk when we are back." Anakin's voice cracked. "I don't need a lecture." Obi-Wan's tone stayed calm, but it was firm. "Yes, you do." Lucifer stepped away from them and looked at the glowing carvings again. Ahsoka watched him. "Did you get what you wanted? Did you find the chain?" Lucifer was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke, softer than usual. "I found a door, and I found guardians who think they own that door." He turned slightly. "And I found that your force reacts to me like an infection it can't name." Obi-Wan's stomach tightened. "That's not reassuring." Lucifer's smile returned, small and sharp. "No, it's honest." Outside the temple, the wind picked up. Dust hissed against stone. The cult in the canyon was gone. Only footprints and broken kyber shards remained. As they returned to the shuttle, Obi-Wan felt the force like a tense muscle. Something had changed, not in a clear way, in a quiet way. Like a lock had turned somewhere far away, and now the door could be opened again. Back in hyperspace, the shuttle's cabin was too quiet. Rex gave his clones silent hand signals and moved to the back, giving the Jedi space. Ahsoka sat near Anakin, not touching him, but close enough that he could not pretend he was alone. Obi-Wan sat across, posture steady, eyes tired. Lucifer sat with one leg crossed, looking at the hyperspace tunnel again. Anakin stared at his own hands. Ahsoka finally spoke, voice gentle. "Anakin, Talk to me." Anakin's jaw tightened. "There's nothing to say." Lucifer spoke without looking away. "There's plenty. You're just afraid of what it means." Anakin's head snapped up. "You don't get to talk about me like you know me." Lucifer finally turned his gaze on Anakin. "I know desire," Lucifer said. "I know fear. I know what happens when someone offers you a chain and calls it salvation." Anakin's breath hitched. His eyes were wet, furious about it. Obi-Wan's voice was quiet. "Anakin, you are not alone in this." Anakin's voice trembled. "I saw her. I saw Padme." He stopped, swallowing hard. Ahsoka's eyes filled with worry. "He showed you Padme dying." Anakin nodded once, like it cost him everything. Obi-Wan's chest tightened. He glanced at Lucifer. "Did you know he would do that?" Lucifer's expression was neutral. "It was the obvious move." Obi-Wan's voice sharpened. "And you let it happen." Lucifer's gaze held Obi-Wan's. "He needs to face it. If he hides from it, someone like your Chancellor will use it." Rex, hearing the word Chancellor, shifted slightly in the back, alert. Obi-Wan's eyes narrowed. "You think Palpatine is involved?" Lucifer's smile turned thin. "I think your Chancellor desires control more than peace." Obi-Wan's heart thudded. It was a dangerous accusation. It was also not impossible. Ahsoka looked between them, uneasy. "We don't have proof," Lucifer shrugged. "Proof is for courts. Truth is for people who pay attention." Anakin wiped his eyes fast, angry at himself. "I stopped," he repeated. Quieter now. "I didn't fall." Lucifer nodded. "Not today." Anakin flinched at the honesty. Lucifer's voice stayed calm. "But the door is open now. They've seen your crack. They will press it." Obi-Wan felt a slow dread. Not because Anakin was evil, because Anakin was human, and the pressure on him was massive. The shuttle continued through hyperspace. Back on Coruscant, the Council would demand answers. The Senate would demand more. And the Sith, whoever they truly were, would not stop. Because now they knew something new. Lucifer Morningstar did not belong to the Force, and yet he could step into its deepest places and say no. That made him a threat. That also made him a key. As the shuttle neared Coruscant, Lucifer looked out at the rushing blue again and spoke softly, almost to himself. "Something down there heard me," Lucifer said. Obi-Wan's voice was tight. "Down where?" Lucifer's eyes narrowed. "Deeper than your war. Deeper than your temples." He smiled faintly, but there was no humor in it now. "And it was hungry." The cabin stayed silent after that, because nobody had a comforting answer, and because all of them, in their own way, felt the same thing. The galaxy had not only gained a new player, it had woken an old one. 2 weeks later, the war kept going like a machine that never got tired. On a gray morning above the planet Christophsis, a line of Republic gunships cut through smoke. The city below was a grid of broken streets and half-standing towers. Battle droids marched in blocks. Cannon fire shook rooftops. Clones ran from cover to cover. Helmets low, rifles up. Captain Rex moved with his squad along the side of a collapsed bridge. He was used to chaos. He was used to losing ground and taking it back. He was used to plans failing. He was not used to the air becoming still. A droid tank rolled around the corner ahead, its cannon turning toward Rex's position. Rex lifted his hand to signal a retreat. And the tank stopped. Not because it was stuck. It stopped like someone had pressed pause on it. The cannon froze mid-turn. The droids behind it froze mid-step. Rex felt his skin tighten under his armor. He looked up. A man stood on the ruined bridge above them. Black suit, clean shoes, no helmet, no blaster, no lightsaber. Lucifer. He didn't float. He didn't fly. He simply stood there, balanced on cracked stone like it was solid ground. Rex didn't know how Lucifer kept appearing in the worst parts of the war without a ship. He also didn't know how to explain the way the battlefield changed around him, like even explosions became careful. Lucifer looked down at the droid tank as if it had insulted him. Then he looked at Rex. "What do you desire, Captain?" Rex swallowed. He forced the answer out fast, before the question could crawl under his ribs. "I desire my men to live," Rex said. Lucifer nodded once, satisfied. He turned his gaze back to the droids. He lifted one hand and snapped his fingers. The droids dropped. Hundreds of them. Their lights went dark at the same time, like a whole army had gone to sleep. The tank's cannon lowered, then powered down. Silence spread over the street, broken only by distant blaster fire far away. Rex stared. His men stared. Then one clone, voice shaky with disbelief, muttered, "Is he on our side?" Lucifer glanced down again, as if he heard the whisper clearly. He smiled faintly. "I'm on the side of choice." Then he was gone. Not in a flash. Not in smoke. Just gone. Like he had stepped through a door no one else could see. Rex exhaled. Hard. He hated that he felt grateful and uneasy so at the same time. He signaled his squad forward anyway, because the war didn't pause for miracles. On other worlds, the same stories spread. A man who stopped missiles with a gesture and then vanished. A man who walked through fire to pull children out of rubble. A man who asked the same question over and over until soldiers either laughed or snapped or answered. Republic troops started calling him different things depending on what scared them the least. The angel, the devil, the suit. The Jedi didn't confirm any of it, but they couldn't erase it either. Back on Coruscant, the Jedi Temple tightened like a fist. There were new rules posted in quiet corners. Do not threaten the guest. Do not attempt restraint. Do not bring crowds. Do not answer his question if you are not ready to hear your own answer. That last rule wasn't written down. It was passed in whispers. Obi-Wan read the temple like he always did. He listened to the way footsteps changed. He watched younger Jedi glance over shoulders. He felt the force around them, restless. He found Master Windu in a training hall, alone, practicing strikes on a remote that moved too fast for most eyes. Mace cut it cleanly in half, then turned without surprise. "You're late," Mace said. Obi-Wan walked in, hands folded in his sleeves. "I was watching the temple." Mace's mouth tightened. "And?" Obi-Wan hesitated. "Everyone feels like the floor might move." "That's because it might," Mace replied. He stepped to the side, deactivating his saber. "Kenobi, I want him out." Obi-Wan kept his tone calm. "And how do you plan to do that?" Mace's eyes held his. "We find leverage." Obi-Wan's stomach tightened. "That's dangerous." Mace's voice was flat. "So is letting him roam our halls and our war." Obi-Wan exhaled slowly. "He has saved lives. He has also made us look weak," Mace snapped, then caught himself, controlling the edge in his voice. "The Senate sees a being the Jedi cannot handle. The people see a myth. The Sith see an opportunity." Obi-Wan's brow furrowed. "You think the Sith are already moving because of him?" Mace's eyes narrowed. "I know they are. The power station trap was not random. Moraband wasn't random. Something is aiming." Obi-Wan felt the truth of it settle like cold metal. "Then we need unity, not panic." Mace turned away, jaw clenched. "Unity doesn't stop a god." Obi-Wan almost argued with the word god, but deep down, he understood why Mace used it. Obi-Wan left the hall and found Yoda in the meditation chamber. Yoda sat still, eyes closed, breath quiet. Obi-Wan waited. He didn't interrupt. When Yoda finally opened his eyes, they looked older than usual. Restless you are, Yoda said. Obi-Wan gave a small, tired smile. Is it that obvious? Yoda's ears drooped slightly. Obvious it is, like a storm in a cup. Obi-Wan sat on the floor nearby. The council is splitting. Yoda nodded once. Fear splits. Obi-Wan hesitated. He changes things. The Force feels strange around him, and since moribund, it feels like something is listening. Yoda's gaze drifted upward, as if he could see through stone. Listening, yes, Yoda whispered. Hungry too. Obi-Wan swallowed. What is it? Yoda's eyes narrowed. Name, I do not know. Old it is. Buried it is. And now, stirred. Obi-Wan's hands tightened slightly. Because Lucifer came? Yoda was quiet, then said softly, because a door opened. Obi-Wan's chest tightened, and the Sith may try to open it wider. Yoda nodded again. Try, they will. Obi-Wan looked down. Then what do we do with Lucifer? Yoda's gaze sharpened. Not what you want. Not what Windu wants. Obi-Wan looked up. Yoda spoke with simple honesty. We cannot own him. We cannot cage him. So, we must choose how to stand near him. Obi-Wan's voice went low. You want trust. Yoda's expression didn't change, but something in his eyes did. Not trust, Yoda said. Respect. Anakin Skywalker tried to pretend none of it was getting to him. He trained harder. He fought more missions. He pushed his body until it hurt, because pain was easier than fear. But in quiet moments, the son's vision returned. Padme cold. Padme still. Anakin would jerk awake with his heart hammering. He would sit there, staring at the dark, trying not to breathe too loud. One night, he found himself walking the temple halls without knowing why. He turned a corner and stopped. Lucifer stood there, leaning against a pillar like he'd been waiting. Anakin's stomach tightened. How do you keep doing that? Lucifer smiled. Walking? Anakin's voice sharpened. Showing up. Lucifer tilted his head. Maybe you're walking toward me. Anakin scoffed. I would never. Lucifer's eyes stayed, calm. Then why are you here? Anakin's jaw clenched. He didn't answer because he didn't like the answer. Lucifer spoke gently. The visions got worse. Anakin's head snapped up. Don't. Lucifer held up a hand. I'm not inside your head, Anakin. You wear your fear like heat. Anakin's fists curled. You think you know everything. Lucifer's smile faded. No, I know one thing very well. Anakin's throat tightened. What? Lucifer's voice was simple. People will offer you chains that feel like rescue. Anakin's breath hitched. Like the sun. Lucifer nodded once. Like him. Anakin swallowed hard. And you're saying the Chancellor will do it too? Lucifer's eyes gleamed. He already is. Anakin's face flushed. Palpatine cares about me. Lucifer didn't laugh. He didn't mock. He just looked at Anakin like he was watching someone reach toward a hot stove. He cares about what you can become, Lucifer said. Anakin's voice cracked with anger. That's not true. Lucifer's tone stayed calm. What do you desire, Anakin? Anakin's throat closed. He hated that question. He hated that it worked. He tried to force a safe answer. But the safe answer tasted like a lie. Finally, he whispered, I desire to save her. Lucifer's gaze softened. Not kind, but honest. And you will, Lucifer said. But not by becoming someone you can't live with. Anakin stared at him, breathing hard. You don't get to judge me, Lucifer nodded. Correct. I'm not judging. He stepped closer, voice quieter. I'm warning you. Anakin's eyes flickered. Why? Lucifer's smile was faint. Because I hate watching someone get played. Anakin wanted to snap back, But the words stuck. His anger didn't vanish. It just got tangled with something else. Fear. He turned away sharply. "Stay out of my life." Lucifer's voice followed him like a shadow. "Your life is already full of other people's hands." Anakin walked faster, like speed could outrun truth. Palpatine chose his timing carefully. The Senate was loud. The war was messy. The Jedi were strained. Perfect. He invited Lucifer again, but not to his office this time. To a private diplomatic tower with quiet security and no public record. A safe place where conversations could be framed as harmless. Lucifer arrived without announcement. Palpatine waited by a wide window, hands clasped behind his back, city lights spread below like a sea. "My friend," Palpatine said warmly, turning with that gentle smile. "Thank you for coming." Lucifer looked around once. "You like high places?" Palpatine chuckled. "They help one think." Lucifer sat without being told. "Or they help one feel above others." Palpatine didn't react. He sat across, posture relaxed. "I hear stories," Palpatine said softly. "On battlefields. Lives saved. Battles ended without bloodshed." Lucifer's smile was small. "War is loud. I prefer quiet." Palpatine nodded like he agreed completely. "Then we share a desire." Lucifer's eyes sharpened. "Do we?" Palpatine leaned forward slightly. "Yes. Peace." Lucifer's mouth twitched. "You enjoy that word." Palpatine sighed, almost sad. "It's what our people need." Lucifer's gaze held his. "What do you desire, Chancellor?" Palpatine blinked once, controlled. "Peace." Lucifer's smile widened. "Still the safe answer." Palpatine's voice stayed warm. "Sometimes the safe answer is the true one." Lucifer leaned back. "Try again." For a moment, the air felt tighter. Palpatine's smile stayed in place. Inside, his mind measured. He could not let Lucifer see the full hunger. So he offered a hunger that sounded noble. "I desire order," Palpatine said gently. "Enough order that children can sleep without bombs above them." Lucifer nodded slowly. "Better." Palpatine watched him. "You could bring that order quickly." Lucifer's eyes narrowed. "You want me to end your war?" Palpatine spread his hands. "I want to save lives." Lucifer tilted his head. "By winning." Palpatine smiled, calm and kind. "By stopping suffering." Lucifer's gaze drifted to the city lights. "Suffering has many uses, doesn't it?" Palpatine's eyes softened. "You've seen too much of it." Lucifer looked back. "You create some of it." Palpatine didn't flinch. "Every leader makes hard choices." Lucifer's voice stayed quiet. "Every tyrant says the same thing." Palpatine's smile didn't change, but the warmth behind it cooled by a fraction. He changed tactics. "Very well," Palpatine said. "Let us talk about what you want." Lucifer's eyes gleamed. "You want to trade." Palpatine nodded slowly. "You seek the deep mysteries, the doors, the places the Jedi fear." Lucifer's smile turned sharp. "And you have access." Palpatine leaned forward, voice lower. "I have information. Old information. Hidden sites, ancient records, things the Jedi keep sealed." Lucifer studied him. "Why offer this?" Palpatine's voice was soft, careful. "Because if something ancient is stirring, the Republic needs someone who can stand in its path." Lucifer laughed once, not loud, just enough to show he understood the trick. "You want me to fight your nightmare," Lucifer said, "and in return, you give me the map." Palpatine nodded like it was reasonable. "We help each other." Lucifer's eyes held his. "And then what? When the nightmare is gone, do you keep your promise? Or do you point everyone's fear at me next?" Palpatine's smile stayed gentle. "I would never." Lucifer's grin flashed. There's the lie. For a heartbeat, the room felt colder. Palpatine's face stayed calm. His eyes stayed kind. But behind them, something watched more sharply now. You are very difficult to persuade, Palpatine said softly. Lucifer stood. Yes, Palpatine rose too. Consider, he said, that the Jedi will never see you as anything but a threat. With me, you could have freedom. No council watching. No temple rules. Lucifer paused near the door. He turned slightly. His voice was almost friendly. Chancellor, you misunderstand me. Palpatine tilted his head, as if curious. Lucifer smiled. I already have freedom. Then Lucifer left without another word. Palpatine stood still, hands clasped, watching the door. The smile remained, but the patience behind it shifted into something sharper. Fine, Palpatine murmured. If he won't take my hand, then I will use his shadow. That night, under the Jedi Temple, in a place few Jedi even knew existed, stone awakened. A hidden chamber sat beneath the temple's foundations. Ancient carvings, a cold hush, a wrong feeling in the force that the temple above tried to cover with light. Palpatine did not come as Chancellor. He came as something else. A hooded figure moved through the dark with silent steps, guided by memory and hunger. Darth Sidious. He carried an object wrapped in cloth, a shard that pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. Kyber, twisted by dark ritual. Not from the temple, not from Moraband, from a place even older. He set it into a carved socket in the stone shrine. The moment it touched, the chamber breathed. The force here tightened like a muscle. Sidious smiled under his hood. He did not fully understand the ancient hunger stirring beyond the door. He only knew this. The scar in the force was easier to press now. Lucifer had made it easier by refusing to be named. Sidious began to chant, low and smooth, voice sliding into the old language like it belonged there. Above, in the temple, Jedi shifted in sleep. Some woke with a start. Some dreamed of drowning. In the archives, droids paused mid-task and rebooted without warning. One security, droid rolled in circles and repeated, "Error! Error! Error!" In the lower levels of Coruscant, civilians looked up from their beds, hearts racing, not knowing why. The scar widened, not like a wound in skin, like a tear in a curtain. A thin line of darkness opened in the shrine chamber. Not empty darkness, not normal shadow. Something behind it moved. Something that did not belong in the room or the planet or the time. Sidious's smile widened. "Yes," he whispered. "Come." The line widened another inch. The air turned cold, and then Sidious felt it. A pressure. Not the Jedi, not the sun. Something older. Something that looked at him the way a deep ocean looks at a small fish. Sidious's smile tightened. For the first time in a long time, he felt a flicker of caution, but caution did not stop him. It made him adjust. He reached deeper with the dark side, pulling at the tear, forcing it. The tear widened. A low sound filled the chamber, like a distant throat clearing. Then a voice, not words, not speech, brushed against Sidious's mind. Hungry, interested. Sidious's breath slowed. He kept control on his face. He kept control in his posture. He did not kneel. He did not run. He simply guided. "I offer you a path," Sidious whispered. The tear widened again. Above, in his guest quarters, Lucifer sat up from a chair he did not need. His eyes were suddenly sharp. He turned his head slightly, listening. Then he smiled. Not amused. Annoyed. "Oh," he said softly. "There you are." Obi-Wan woke like someone had yanked him out of water. He sat up, breathing hard. The force felt wrong. He ran into the hall, robe half on, and nearly collided with Ahsoka, who was already sprinting. "Do you feel that?" Ahsoka asked, voice tight. Yes, Obi-Wan said. Where is Anakin? Ahsoka's eyes flicked toward Anakin's quarters. I don't know. They reached the main corridor. Jedi were pouring out of rooms. Masters, knights, Padawans, confused faces, hands going to sabers. Master Windu arrived like a storm, already ready. Report. No one had one. Then the ground shivered. A faint tremor ran through the temple stone, subtle but real. Yoda appeared at the far end of the hall, staff tapping once, eyes wide. Below, Yoda said. Below, it is! Mace's jaw clenched. The shrine! Obi-Wan's stomach dropped. The hidden chamber! Mace turned, barking orders. Temple guard with me! Kenobi! Tano! Move! They ran, down hidden stairs, through sealed doors that opened under Mace's authority, past carvings most Jedi never saw. The deeper they went, the colder it got. The air smelled like damp stone, and something faintly burned. When they reached the final corridor, the force pressure hit like a wall. Ahsoka staggered, bracing herself on the stone. Obi-Wan forced his feet forward, breath tight. Mace Windu walked into it like he was made of iron. At the end of the corridor, the shrine chamber glowed with sickly light, and the tier was open. A long crack in the air, wider now, like someone had ripped the world. Obi-Wan saw movement behind it, not a figure he could name, a shape that kept changing, like a thing trying on forms. Mace ignited his lightsaber. Purple light filled the chamber. Ahsoka ignited her blades. Obi-Wan ignited his. Temple guards raised their weapons, but their hands shook. Then Obi-Wan saw him. A hooded figure stood near the shrine's center, hands raised, feeding the tier. For half a second, Obi-Wan didn't understand. Then the figure turned slightly, and Obi-Wan felt the cold truth. A dark presence, familiar in nightmares, real in the room. Mace Windu's voice went sharp and low. Sith! The hooded figure straightened slowly, like he was not surprised to be found. He did not run. He did not panic. He simply turned, and his face was calm. Chancellor Palpatine. Obi-Wan's mind refused it for a heartbeat. Then the dark side in the air made it undeniable. Ahsoka gasped. No! Mace stepped forward, fury controlled into a blade. In the name of the Jedi Council, Palpatine smiled, and that smile was not kind. It was proud. You came, Palpatine said softly. How predictable. The tear behind him pulsed, as if amused. Obi-Wan's heart hammered. Chancellor, what have you done? Palpatine's eyes flicked to Obi-Wan. What was necessary? Then his gaze slid to the tear, and his voice softened like he was speaking to a pet. Just a little more, he murmured. The tear widened. A wave of dread rolled out. Temple guards stumbled. One dropped to a knee, vomiting inside his helmet. Ahsoka's hands shook. Obi-Wan's breath caught. Even Mace Windu's stance tightened for a fraction. And then another presence entered the chamber, like someone stepping into a room they owned. Lucifer. He appeared at the edge of the shrine without hurry. Black suit, calm face, eyes bright with quiet anger. He looked at Palpatine. Then he looked at the tear. Then he sighed, deeply, like someone who had just found a mess they didn't want to clean. Oh, Lucifer said. So it was you? Palpatine's gaze snapped to Lucifer, and for the first time, there was open irritation on his face. Of course, Palpatine said. You couldn't stay away. Lucifer smiled faintly. I'm allergic to control freaks. Mace's eyes flicked between them. You know him. Lucifer didn't look at Mace. I suspected him. Obi-Wan's voice was tight. Lucifer, what is that tear? Lucifer's gaze stayed on the shifting darkness. It's a mouth, Lucifer said simply. Ahsoka swallowed. A mouth to what? Lucifer's smile was thin. Something old, something hungry, something that doesn't care about your republic or your war. Palpatine's voice sharpened. "Do not exaggerate." Lucifer glanced at him. "You're opening a door you can't close." Palpatine's eyes narrowed. "I can control it." Lucifer laughed once. It had no humor. "You can barely control yourself." Palpatine's face hardened. "Enough!" He lifted a hand, and lightning exploded from his fingers, blue and violent. It flew across the chamber toward Mace and Obi-Wan like a whip. Mace stepped forward and caught it on his lightsaber, angling the blade, redirecting the lightning into the stone wall where it blasted a hole. Obi-Wan pulled Ahsoka back, shielding her as debris fell. Temple guards fired blasters. The shots melted in the air before reaching Palpatine, like the dark side around him swallowed them. Palpatine moved with unnatural speed, cloak flaring. He drew a red lightsaber that snapped to life like a wound. Mace Windu met him instantly, purple against red, blades clashing hard enough to shake the chamber. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka moved to flank, but the force pressure from the tear made their steps heavy. And behind Palpatine, the tear widened again. The hungry presence pressed closer. It did not step through fully. It leaned, like it was sniffing. Lucifer watched it with narrowed eyes. Then he stepped forward. Not toward Palpatine, toward the tear. Obi-Wan shouted, "Lucifer, don't—" Lucifer didn't look back. "If you want to keep living," he said calmly, "stop feeding it." Palpatine laughed through the duel, voice sharp. "You think you can command me?" Lucifer finally turned his head slightly. His eyes gleamed. "I'm not commanding," Lucifer said. "I'm offering you a choice." Palpatine's blade crashed against Mace's again. "I choose power," Palpatine hissed. Lucifer nodded. "Of course you do." He turned fully to the tear. The hungry presence surged, sensing him. The air warped. Shadows crawled across the floor like fingers. Ahsoka felt her stomach twist with fear, so sudden it made her dizzy. This was not like facing a Sith Lord. This was like standing near a storm that wanted to eat the world. Lucifer lifted both hands, palms open. The tear pressed outward, like it wanted to swallow him first. Lucifer's voice was quiet, steady, almost bored. "No." The tear shuddered. The hunger pushed harder. Lucifer's wings flickered into view for a split second, not to show off, but like a reflex. Light and darkness shaped them. Then they faded again. Lucifer stepped closer until he stood inches from the crack in reality. The hungry presence shifted, trying to become a face, trying to become a promise. A sound like whispering flooded the chamber, not in ears, but in minds. Ahsoka clutched her head. Obi-Wan gritted his teeth, forcing focus. Even Mace's strikes faltered for a heartbeat. Palpatine smiled, sensing advantage. But Lucifer didn't flinch. He spoke again, simple and deadly calm. "I will not be part of your story." The tear jerked, like it had been slapped. The hunger surged in anger. Lucifer's eyes hardened. He did not blast it with beams. He did not wrestle it, like a beast. He did something stranger. He refused it. He reached out with will so firm it felt like the laws of the room leaned toward him. Then he did something careful. He didn't fix the Force. He didn't rewrite the galaxy. He folded the tear closed like closing a book. The crack narrowed, inch by inch. The hungry pressure screamed in silence, thrashing against the closing seam. Palpatine's eyes widened. "No!" He lunged, trying to feed the tear again with his power. But Mace Windu slammed into him, purple blade pressing red back, forcing him away from the shrine. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka joined, blades flashing, driving Palpatine off balance. For the first time, Palpatine looked truly angry. Lightning burst again. Obi-Wan took it on his blade, deflecting. Ahsoka rolled to the side, cutting a falling stone chunk in half to protect a guard. Mace Windu pushed forward, every strike a demand, every step a threat. Palpatine snarled and leapt back, cloak flaring, eyes burning. He glanced at Lucifer. Lucifer was still closing the tear, face calm, but jaw tight now. It wasn't hard for him in the way lifting a heavy object was hard. It was hard in the way holding back a flood was hard, because he wasn't just blocking it. He was choosing a limit. The tear sealed shut with a final, sharp snap. The chamber's air warmed slightly. The pressure lifted. Temple guards gasped like they had been underwater. Ahsoka's legs trembled. Obi-Wan exhaled a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. And the hungry presence, whatever it was, fell back into silence. Not gone. Just pushed away. Lucifer lowered his hands slowly. He looked at the sealed seam in the air like he was deciding whether it would behave. Then he turned. Palpatine stood at the far side of the chamber, blade still lit, eyes furious. Mace Windu stepped forward, saber up, ready to finish it. But Palpatine's gaze flicked past them, up, toward the corridor, toward the world above. He smiled again, sharp and cold. "This is not over," he said. Then he vanished into the shadows with a burst of speed that wasn't normal movement. Obi-Wan started after him. But Lucifer spoke, voice calm and final. "Let him go?" Obi-Wan froze, shocked. "He's the Sith Lord." Lucifer's eyes held his. "Yes." Mace's voice was a growl. "We can still catch him." Lucifer shook his head once. "Not tonight." Mace's eyes flared. "You don't get to decide?" Lucifer's gaze flicked to Mace. It wasn't threatening. It was simply real. "I do," Lucifer said, "because if you chase him now, you will ignore the real danger." Obi-Wan swallowed. "The hunger?" Lucifer nodded. "It's awake now. Not fully, but awake." Ahsoka stepped forward, voice shaking. "What was it?" Lucifer looked at her, and for once he didn't have a playful answer. "Something that wants the Force itself," Lucifer said quietly. "Not the light. Not the dark. The whole river." Yoda arrived at the chamber entrance, leaning on his staff, eyes heavy. He looked at the sealed seam, then at Lucifer. "Closed. You made it," Yoda said. Lucifer's smile was faint. Temporarily. Yoda's ears drooped. "Cost there is?" Lucifer nodded. "Yes." Mace Windu's voice was tight. "Chancellor Palpatine is a Sith Lord. The Senate will—" Obi-Wan's mind raced. The Republic was built around that man. If they spoke, half the galaxy would call it a Jedi coup, and the other half would panic. Lucifer watched them struggle with the weight of it, then spoke like someone stating a simple fact. "He built your system to depend on him," Lucifer said. "That's why he likes control." Mace's jaw clenched. "We will bring him down." Lucifer shrugged slightly. "Try." Obi-Wan's eyes narrowed. "You could stop him." Lucifer looked at Obi-Wan for a long moment. Then he said the thing Obi-Wan didn't want to hear. "Yes, I could." Obi-Wan's throat tightened. "Then why not?" Lucifer's voice was quiet. "Because if I solve your problems for you, you become children. You will build another Palpatine the moment I leave." Ahsoka's eyes widened. "So you'll just watch?" Lucifer's gaze softened. "No." He stepped closer, careful, like he didn't want to frighten them with his presence. "I will guard the doors," Lucifer said. "I will stop the hunger when it reaches out. I will interfere when choice is being stolen." Mace's eyes narrowed. "And what about the war?" Lucifer's smile returned, small and sharp. "Your war is a human mess. You can clean it, or you can keep rolling in it." Obi-Wan exhaled, frustration and relief mixing. "So what are you now? An ally?" Lucifer considered the word. Then he shook his head. "I'm not anyone's soldier." He looked at Yoda, then at Obi-Wan, then at Ahsoka. "I'll be nearby," Lucifer said. "I'll be inconvenient. I'll be honest." His smile widened just a little. "And I'll remain free." Yoda nodded slowly, like he accepted what could not be changed. "Free you are," Yoda said. "Free," and watched. Lucifer chuckled. "Naturally." Obi-Wan felt the force around Lucifer again, that strange river bending around a rock. He realized something then, with a cold clarity. The Jedi were no longer the biggest mystery in the galaxy. The Force itself was. And now the Force had a door guard who didn't belong to it. The next weeks reshaped everything. The Jedi Council filed the truth about Palpatine under the deepest seals. They couldn't act openly yet without tearing the Republic apart. They started planning quietly, like people building a dam while the river rose. The Senate became more nervous. Palpatine returned to his public role with the same kind smile, the same warm voice. No one saw the red blade under the mask. Anakin became quieter, not calmer. Quieter. He trained like a man, trying to outrun his own mind. He visited Padme with a tight smile that didn't reach his eyes. He told himself he was fine. And sometimes, in temple halls, Lucifer would appear beside him like a shadow that refused to leave. "What do you desire?" Lucifer would ask gently. And Anakin, cheeks hot with shame and anger, would answer anyway. Because for the first time, Anakin understood how dangerous it was to lie to himself. Ahsoka began to watch Lucifer in a different way, not with trust, with curiosity. She saw the pattern. Lucifer didn't want to rule. He didn't want worship. He didn't even want gratitude. He wanted people to choose with open eyes. That didn't make him safe, but it made him clear. Rex kept hearing rumors from the front lines. Some clones hated Lucifer because he made them feel small. Some loved him because he saved their brothers without asking for praise. Rex didn't pick either side. Rex simply added a new rule to his life. If the man in the suit appeared, Rex would answer the question fast and honest, because even a soldier deserved one thing, a choice. And somewhere, far beyond Coruscant, in a place between stories, the sun watched too. The sun had not forgotten Lucifer. The sun had not forgiven him. And deeper than even the sun, something old had shifted in its sleep, hungry, patient, now aware of the taste of the door. Much later, when the temple gardens were quiet and the city lights flickered like distant fireflies, Ahsoka found Lucifer alone. He sat on a stone bench as if he had always been there. The night air moved gently through the trees. The temple felt calm on the surface, but Ahsoka could still feel the scar below, like a bruise that never fully healed. "You stopped it," Ahsoka said, standing a few steps away. Lucifer glanced up. "I delayed it." Ahsoka walked closer and sat on the other end of the bench, leaving space between them. She didn't know why she kept returning to him. Maybe because he was honest when everyone else was careful. Maybe because he made her think of questions she didn't like. Maybe because she could sense that, under his calm, there was a kind of tiredness that felt too familiar. "The council thinks you should leave," Ahsoka said. Lucifer smiled faintly. "I know." "They also think they can't make you," Ahsoka added. Lucifer's grin flashed. "Correct." Ahsoka stared out at the city. "So what now? You'll just keep showing up when doors open?" Lucifer's voice was quiet. "Yes." Ahsoka frowned. "That sounds lonely." Lucifer's eyes flicked to her. "Lonely is not the worst thing." Ahsoka swallowed. "It still sounds lonely." Lucifer didn't deny it. He looked up at the stars, face calm, eyes sharp. "This galaxy is loud," Lucifer said. "It pretends destiny is a comfort blanket. It pretends rules are always good. It pretends balance means justice." Ahsoka's voice was small. "Doesn't it?" Lucifer looked at her. "Sometimes," he said. Then his gaze drifted back to the stars. "And sometimes, it's just a story people tell to avoid making hard choices." Ahsoka's hands tightened on her knees. You keep saying choice, like it's the answer to everything. Lucifer's smile was faint. It isn't the answer. He turned slightly toward her. It's the point. Ahsoka hesitated, then asked the question that had been sitting in her chest since moribund. Why do you care? She whispered. If you're not a savior, if you don't love us the way we love each other, why bother? Lucifer was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was softer than usual. Because I know what it's like to have your life written for you, Lucifer said. And I know what it's like to burn a world down just to prove you can. Ahsoka's throat tightened. She didn't fully understand, but she felt the weight behind the words. Lucifer looked at her, eyes bright. What do you desire, Ahsoka Tano? Ahsoka almost rolled her eyes. Almost. But she didn't. Not this time. She answered honestly. I desire for Anakin to be okay, she said. I desire for people to stop being used. I desire for the Jedi to be better than fear. Lucifer nodded once, slow and genuine. Good, he said. Keep that. Ahsoka looked down. And you? What do you desire? Lucifer's smile returned, small and sharp. To keep my freedom, he said. Then his eyes softened just a fraction. And to keep yours. Ahsoka stared at him, surprised by how simple it sounded. Across the temple, a service droid rolled by on the path, humming softly. Lucifer glanced at it as it passed. The droid paused, turned its head, and said in a flat voice, Statement. I do not desire. Lucifer sighed, like he was disappointed in a child. That's still tragic, Lucifer said. The droid's eyes blinked fast. Error. Ahsoka let out a small laugh before she could stop it. Lucifer looked pleased, as if the laugh was a victory. Then his gaze turned serious again, lifting to the stars. Far away, beyond hyperspace lanes, beyond maps, the scar in the Force sat quiet. Not healed. Quiet. Waiting. Yoda sat in meditation and felt it like a distant ache. In his mind, an old word floated up from half-forgotten texts, a name without comfort. Abeloth. He didn't speak it aloud. Not yet. In the Senate, Palpatine smiled warmly at a room full of frightened leaders and promised safety. In the dark behind that smile, plans kept growing. And on a quiet bench in the Jedi Temple Gardens, Lucifer Morningstar leaned back and watched a galaxy that wanted to pretend it understood itself. He didn't belong here. That was exactly why he mattered. Because every time the universe tried to force someone into a single path, there was now a man in a suit who would step into the doorway, look the darkness in the face and say, calm and certain, No,